I think usually I introduce myself as a part nerd and a part hippie. But for the nerd part is maybe the more interesting side for this. I founded a startup called Donethat about a year ago. That startup automates time tracking with AI and helps people be more productive, helps teams be more productive. I did that as part of a Founding to Give incubator. And the idea there is that people who start startups already at the start commit to donate half of any potential exit money they might have to just make sure we kind of don't lose our values along the capitalism in Germany.
Yeah.
And on the side, I do a little side project on what it means to live a good life.
Yeah.
And before I did all this, I worked as a CTO in another startup. I was a management consultant for a while. I did a PhD in computational neuroscience. And I think.
Yeah. No, I love that intro. Okay. So you've done like a bunch of different things.
Right.
How do you think about your life? Is there like some overarching like goal you're like moving towards, or is it more like just enjoying the moment and making impact like on the way?
I think I talked to somebody yesterday, I think, about this. And that is like, if you try to plan your life like too much, it's like just bound to fail. like we live in this age, I feel like, where there's like so much uncertainty about everything that if I would now plan that in 20 years I want to, I don't know, have solved a problem or have worked on something, I feel like that's just like a ridiculous thing to try. But of course I have values, right? And one of my values is to have some kind of impact in my life. And for me that means helping humans, sentient beings, whoever, to have a good life, have a better life.
Yeah.
And while doing this, also not forget about myself. I also would like to have a good life, to explore, have a rich life. And that's roughly the idea. Yeah.
So then do you only plan like 5 years in the future, or is it like how do you see that?
Say again?
Like, do you only plan like 5 years into the future, or how do you see that?
I think right now I probably plan like 1 year into the future.
And
max.
that's it. Like.
Yeah. Like I literally told myself, like a year ago, I was like, I'm going to do the startup thing for a year and let's see how that's going to go.
Yeah.
And then at the end of last year, I was like, okay, I think I want to do this for another year. So let me do this for another year, and then in a year we see again.
Yeah.
And that roughly also maps to how I have this habit of like doing a yearly review, a yearly plan. I kind of do the same on a quarterly basis and on a weekly basis. I've never built the habit to also do it on a daily basis. I know some people who do, but never got there.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I like dream, right? It's like what would I love my life to look like in like 30 years? And I actually never, like in these dreams, and like it's there's a positive psychology exercise. It's called, I think, your best possible self or something. And the idea is just forget about everything. Imagine how your life could be like in 30 years.
Yeah.
It's, I think, one of the exercises that has like the highest impact on your life satisfaction if you just do the journaling. And for me, what comes out there is just like, I see myself living in some kind of cabin close by a lake with like a lot of amazing people here, where it's almost like, I think Amsterdam gets as close as possible to this. And what I do for money or for impact just never plays a role in this, interestingly. But it is something that drives me day to day. Yeah.
Very cool. And you mentioned that you're like part hippie and like part nerd.
Right.
How do you reconcile like the two sides? Has like one ever like one over the other, or?
I think it goes in phases. I think the hippie part is more maybe like questioning of norms, and also just as I said, no, like part of my values are I want to have impact on the world, and like make sure people can live a happy life. And then the hippie part of me is like, no, but like I also just want to live a good life. So I like to like go to festivals, party. I had a phase where I did like a lot of meditation. Like experiment with like different forms of living. I lived in communities for a while, and just like, that's like this hippie explorative part of me, I think. Yeah.
Can you like what exactly mean like living in this like community? Like, so are you like a bunch of people in one house, or like what does it mean exactly?
So in that case, like I tried a few, but the idea is always like, you live with maybe 30 people, maybe 10 people in one big house. And I think there's like hundreds of different ways of trying it, and many people try and fail. The versions that I saw work is where is some kind of benevolent dictator who owns the whole thing, and sets the rules. And like people, like I like structure as much as I like to, also explore. Like some structure is useful, right? So they usually bring some kind of structure and like the financial setup and all the annoying part. And then people just come and live there for a while. And what I love about it is that everything just becomes so easy. Like if you want to like live a social life in Amsterdam, for example, you have to plan like 3 months in advance, like whom you're going to meet that weekend and make a plan for a date, and like life is complicated. And if you live in these kind of places, like usually they're more like on the countryside, which is great because I love nature, and it's hard to get nature here in Amsterdam. But then there's also a bunch of interesting people around you. So like every evening you're like, what are we going to do? It's like there's nothing to do. Like let's host a workshop, let's watch some movies, let's like organize a random party. You do the cooking together. You work next to each other. It's like social connections are what makes us, is like the biggest predictor of happiness. And this just makes social connections free, right? So like there's like tons of downsides to this as well. This is why I'm not living in a community right now. But I think like if done right, it can be very amazing.
And can you give like can you name drop some? Because I know like one, maybe like the EA Hotel. But other than that, I don't know any.
I've never been in the EA Hotel, but I tried a few times, but like somehow it never worked out. I think one that I really enjoyed was called Fatopia in France. I think
Fatopia?
They have just a big castle basically. And like fun fact, but like chateaus or castles were designed for communities, right? Like the one big communal room in the center with like.
But isn't it like for like kings or something?
Yeah, but like kings have like lots of stuff living with them.
They have
like
a bunch of stuff going on.
Exactly, right? So they have like all kinds of people over all the time. They throw parties all the time. The chateaus are meant like to be social places, right? Like I lived in one in England that was called. What it was called? Forgot it now. But in the UK, there's like 2 or 3. Actually, friends of mine just started
one. Is it
one.
like the life itself, or no?
No, that exists in France. Yeah, I think they're also like part of this intentional community thing. There's chateau co-living in France. Again, the idea if you have a chateau. I think if you just Google a few, you'll find them very quickly. There's one in Switzerland called, I think, Alpines, that a friend of mine stayed at a few times, and he loves it. Like every winter he's there, and like you have like people around you all just go skiing all the time, work together all the time, have like way too much cheese fondue. It seems like a great setup.
Nice. Okay. And what are like the main downsides? Like why are you not doing it anymore?
If you don't have this benevolent dictator who does all the organization around it, it's just really hard to set up, right? Like if you want to do this like on equal footing with friends, you need to find 20 friends who all have like some money, who all want to like sit down and do this project together and find a property, and like probably you're gonna lose half your friends around the way because like right now you all think it's a great idea, and then you do this together and there's conflict, and like the group dynamics of it are like surprisingly hard to manage, I think, if you want to do this for long term. So what works, like there's tons of flat shares everywhere, right? Like if you look around in Amsterdam, like a lot of people live with other people, so you can just reframe this as like some kind of temporary community. But like the bigger projects, you need money, and you need just somebody doing it full time. And most people don't want to do it full time.
So you went from like academia to like BCG consulting, and then a social startup in Kenya, is that correct?
Yeah,
and then
right.
also now solo founding. So like you've done a lot of pivots. Like has it been like, what were the reasonings for each pivot? Or you can like talk about like the most impactful ones. You don't have to tell me every single time you made a difference.
No, I think probably the first one was to decide to stop academia and go to management consulting, right? And the reasoning back then was I felt like I could always come back to software engineering, and in a way I am right now, right? But I was like, there's more out there in the world, and I just want to there's this concept of explore and exploit, right? And I felt it was too early in my career to exploit and to just like do what I already do, which would have been probably back then to join some kind of software company, or like some friends of mine went to DeepMind. I think I wasn't good enough for DeepMind, but like these kind of things, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, no, let me like explore. And for exploring, I think consulting is great because you just see like hundreds of different companies, and I had like zero intuition for how like business works, whatever that means, right? And like how corporates and enterprises work. And I think for this, consulting was great. So this was like the first kind of pivot decision.
Yeah.
And then having done that for a while, at some point your learning curve just drops, right? And as much as you learn in consulting, it's also like very intense.
Mm-hmm.
And I was missing the nerdiness. Like the people around me were, like they were like nice people, but it wasn't the nerdy vibe I knew.
I feel like sometimes it's a cult. Like I work for a company, and then I think the beginning, like the intro day or whatever, and the way they talked about it was very much like welcome to the cult. They don't say cult, but it was very much like it's
welcome
to
the company.
Family. It's like,
to the company. So I think if you identify with the cult, cults are great. But in that case, I didn't feel like I enjoyed being part of the cult. And I'm still in contact with some. I actually just visited somebody who's now partner like last week, and we had like good coffee, and like I like him. But he wasn't the majority of the people, let's just say. So I think I also just got unlucky. Like I had a few managers I worked with that I just didn't like very much, and you work with these like all the time, right? Anyway, so this was one part, and then I back then was thinking I really want to have more of an impact with my career also. Like I did, because I was donating 10% of my money back in that time, and I made like good money, so there was like some impact there, but I wanted like to have it a bit more tangible somehow. And then just like pure coincidence, I guess, like as with many career decisions, right? Like the idea is you just have to like be open to like chance to happen, and then like when it happens, just like hold on to it and see where it kind of takes you. And in that case, I had a friend who was like doing impact investing in a Kenyan startup, and I had taken off, like you could like take like mini sabbaticals at BCG. And I was like thinking of like going to India. That was like my hippie self speaking. And then he was like, you complain about this, like not coding anymore all the time, and you complain about like no impact. Why don't you just like come with me? We go to Kenya for like 4 weeks. It's almost India. It's like not the same.
Don't say that. I've never been to Kenya, so what do I know?
No, of course it's like definitely not the same. But like I think he meant like there's like also some kind of like adventure spirit with it, right? Like, and you'll just code and you see how you like it. So I basically, instead of going to travel, I did an unpaid internship for 6 weeks, which is a questionable decision, but I enjoyed it. I felt like I got this, like it was explore idea again, right? I explored if I like engineering, and through this, then long story, went back to BCG eventually when they raised money, then started at that startup, and that was one more pivot, and then I guess the last pivot was just like, okay, sounds like fun. And the reasoning back then was just like high potential upside, limited downside, as with all startups, right? Like if it works, this is going to be an amazing opportunity, and we're going to bring like health insurance to Kenya, and we like make sure a lot of people don't fall into poverty, because the idea of health insurance is actually not to get more people healthy, but to just prevent people from going into poverty when they can't pay for all the healthcare costs. But startups come with risk. The startup wasn't as successful as I hoped. And in the end, I was like, okay, like I don't see how this is ever going to work out. I had like a nice stable job, which had allowed me to like live more of my hippie self. But I was like, actually, I think I'm ready for more intense work again and more impact. And also like all the AI stuff was happening. So I was like, let's just start a startup. This was 2024, I guess. 2024. And then I was like, let's try to start a startup.
No, I love that. Okay, cool. Okay, I have a bit more of a personal question. Feel free to deny. When we move on. So, what, your dad was a priest, or?
Yeah, my dad was a priest. Like, well, he was a Catholic. He was a Jesuit, which is like a Catholic order, I think you call this. I'm not even sure. And you're not, of course, supposed to have children as a Catholic priest. So when he had me, and like long story there, but it was like, I think, a very intentional decision on his side to leave the church.
Yeah.
And he then became a management consultant. So
Damn, okay.
like leadership development. I think it actually makes sense, but you certainly can make some jokes around like cults. No, but I think he was quite influential in my life. And
yeah, so that was my question. So basically, how's like the religious part of it? How has that like affected your, or like shaped your upbringing? And especially given like now with the involvement with EA and moral ambition, like how do they combine together?
That's a good question. I think he didn't like directly shape my spiritual upbringing much. Like we went to church on like Easter and Christmas, like every other like burger like German family, I guess. And I think like around when I started university, I was like, hey, I don't think church, like I don't identify with this. And I told him, and he's like, yeah, that like totally makes sense. Like, I mean, there's a reason I left church, no? But he was like, but like try to keep like some kind of spiritual practice for yourself. And then back then I started meditating. Actually, he used to organize, in German, it's called Exerzitien. I'm not sure what the English word is. It sounds a lot like exorcism, which it isn't. It is a practice in the Christian tradition where you are silent for a week or a month or like longer times. Very similar to like Vipassana retreats, where you just sit and are silent and are with your thoughts. The Christians like pray when they do it, and in Vipassana you look at your breath, but like same idea. So we actually almost went to a Zen retreat together. Like it was very open spiritually. So, and back then I started meditating. It was like a kind of on-off relationship that I had there. And my values, I think, didn't really come from, I mean, of course, like I think the value that came from both my mom and my dad is like one for independent thinking. Like they always encouraged me to like not just assume things as given or like take others' opinions as the truth, but always question things and always think for myself. So there was some part of that. And then after high school, I just had too much time, like in Germany, between high school and start of university. You have like 3 months of like nothingness. And I read an article from Peter Singer in some newspaper. And the Germans hate them because like he has like some controversial opinions. But like in that interview, he also talked about like his view of like ethics in general. And I thought like, there were some interesting points there. I got his book, Practical Ethics. And I think that fundamentally shaped had a big impact on my ethics. So like I became vegetarian then. I decided that I would donate money whenever I would start making some money. And that eventually led to me taking this like 10% donating pledge when I then started making money during my PhD.
All right. So let's pivot to like more like founding to give in startups. So why are you doing a startup?
I think in career there's like this, I forgot all the elements of the framework, right? But one is personal fit. It's like what kind of role just fits yourself best. And I think the role of a founder, I just really enjoyed. Like I like good amounts of chaos, like not too much chaos, but like I easily get bored. I thought I had ADHD for a while, but I recently did a test and they told me no. So I can't blame it on ADHD. But like for sure I need like a lot of stimulation. I like challenges, uncertainty. And at the same time, I think startups are a way to have outsized impact, right? Like if you just do a job, like there's opportunity for impact there. But startups are like one of the few things where you could potentially have like very big returns, right? And at the same time, like I was also thinking working for NGOs to have impact. But I'm always a bit uncomfortable with that logic there because at the end of the day, you are still employed. Like, so like hear me out. Like you're paid by somebody else, right? So that donor pays you to create impact for them.
Yeah.
Right? So if now I work for the Against Malaria Foundation and hand out bed nets, and I'm being paid by this donor, and like somebody doesn't die of malaria, like is that now due to me or due to the donor? Right? And I would argue it's actually due to the donor. Basically, I thought doing for-profit work, especially as a startup, fits my character best, has the highest potential for impact, and also we are at a time right now with AI happening where I think there's like massive potential for entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And maybe entrepreneurship is like one of the last jobs left after like everything else gets automated, which is again like a very long story.
Yeah.
But I just felt like there was like a lot of things pointing in the same direction.
Why do you think entrepreneurship won't be automated?
It could be. Actually, like part of the startup, we were looking during the startup incubator, and one of the idea was just automate a startup, like automate the whole process. And back then I would think it was too early. No, I think at the end of the day, you could totally also automate this, right? Like any other role. But it goes towards like who actually, like if we give AI ownership rights, this is going into philosophy now, but like as long as we don't give AI proper rights to operate in our society, to be a legal person, to like actually start a company and this kind of stuff, which probably would be a bad idea, but that depends on your theory of consciousness and other stuff, then you still are, like, they just can't start companies. And then it's always going to be a human who is the only person who can take accountability and can have these rights. Yeah. But of course, if we start giving rights to AIs, then that's going to be hard.
Different world, yeah. Okay, cool. For Founding Together especially, why do you think you were accepted?
I mean, you'd have to ask Founding Together.
Exactly. What's your like best guess?
It's probably a combination of a few things. One being that I like coded up an app before, so I like had like some technical expertise. And in general, you want to have people with like technical expertise to start SaaS businesses. And back then, I think the idea still was like, let's follow the traditional like startup playbook and have like a technical founder and maybe like more of a domain expert. Then I'm not sure how much they factored this in, but I also had personal like flexibility, right? Like I had saved up money, so I would have like a longer runway. I was pretty flexible in terms of geography, like where I would work from, whom I would work with. I think I'm pretty easy to work with, so it's also like easy to match me with other people. And I also wasn't like super tied to a specific idea, so it would be easy to match me to other people with other ideas, right? Like if you only accept people who only want to work on this one thing and nothing else, it's just going to be really, really hard to like get co-founder pairs together. And so flexibility, like technical skills, and like general like problem solving skills that I've demonstrated in other jobs before.
Cool. And but Donethat is like a solo founder, right? And not co-founder? Or how?
Yeah, my plan was to find a co-founder. Like that's the whole point why I did this Founding to Give thing.
Exactly,
But then it just didn't work out. Like I had a few people I was thinking of founding with, but of course you have this kind of optimization problem where they then also have to want to found with you and they have to like the same idea. And I thought I was very flexible when it came to ideas, but like some ideas I just also didn't like. So, and the more we went into this, the more I was married to my idea. So like it was, and also like I didn't even consider solo founding to be an option before. I think I didn't, I thought I wasn't good enough technically, and I thought I somehow needed to find somebody else because that's like the gospel. But I do believe this is changing with AI, and it's just so much easier to run a business by yourself now. And that comes with like pros and cons, of course. And I talked to a few other solo founders I knew and decided back then it's like, let's just try this. And only time will tell if that was a good idea or not, or a bad idea, but so far I'm enjoying it.
Really cool. And how was your overall experience at Founding Together? And do you have any like, okay, this was like the most valuable part of doing it? Or like, why do you think it's worth doing?
I think like lots of reasons. For me, the biggest reason for doing it probably was that I wouldn't have started a startup otherwise. And the reason for that is that back then, I think not so much now, but I felt I was really worried of status on some level. I think like I had this like nice CTO job for like a social enterprise thing that I felt happy with. I had a good life.
Yeah.
And I was just worried. I didn't recognize this first, but like the more I thought about like, should I now do this funding to give thing, the more I was like, what am I actually like worried about? And I think it was judgment of others. I was just not sure like what my friends would say, what like my mom would say, what like things like this.
Yeah.
And telling to these people is like, hey, I'm going to quit my job and start a random startup. It's different from saying, hey, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to join this prestigious program with like other people and we're going to follow this framework and we're going to start startups.
Yeah.
You kind of get this stamp of approval. I think that's like, I don't want to say that was the reason for me or like the biggest value of the program for me, but it totally was. I think like this was a big factor of it because like you can't find co-founders otherwise, right? Like I had like a big network. I could have just like asked around and like do some networking for a month and probably found like a few people to think about startups with.
Yeah.
I have like consumed so much random startup content by then that like the frameworks we used wasn't really new. I think the coaching was really good, but I could have found a coach otherwise, right? Like it just made it easier and it gave this stamp of approval. I think those were the two things.
Yeah, I love that. Very cool. Okay. Regarding Donethat, so what's been like the biggest lesson so far? You were working on it like for like over a year now, right?
Yeah, roughly a year. So I think it's going to be Donethat's birthday in a few weeks. Biggest lesson. I think a few different lessons, maybe. One is that I think I thought about sales wrong for a long time. And that is that I thought sales was about convincing people. And of course you can try that, but it's going to be painful and take a very long time and going to be terrible and you're not going to enjoy yourself. Or it is doing something that makes people come to you. Right? Or even if they don't come to you, like when they tell them about it, they're like, oh yeah, that's what I need, how much? Right? And that's called product market fit, right? And
no, so German. Love it, nice.
Yeah, I mean we Germans hate sales, I think. But I just didn't think this was like I just always thought you had to like hustle and like try to convince people and like somehow like do like ethically questionable things to like get them to like buy your stuff. And like recently I was like, no, it just can be the complete opposite way. It can just be that people actually want what you have. And that's of course like what everybody tells you, what like find this product market fit moment where like people actually want what you have. And I think I tried the convincing thing for too long instead of just, and I knew it on a theoretical level, but like knowing and then knowing it experientially is always different. So like this is something that I learned more and more recently. And then I think again like around sales, it's like all about trust, right? Like in order to sell, you need somebody else to trust you that you're going to deliver, and that I'm going to take you seriously and take your data seriously, and like that I'm doing things right. And if you frame it from this lens of, okay, I need to build trust with people, then a lot of sales things all of a sudden make sense, whereas others just don't make sense. And like this lens also helped me a lot to understand how to do things.
Okay, and how do you think about like growth? Like has your thinking on growth just changed or scaling from day one, like when you started?
I think first of all, like you shouldn't trust my thinking on growth because I didn't grow a lot.
Didn't grow
so
but still, you know, a lot of like my friends just come up to me and they're like, oh, I love like this product, etc. You know? And that's also like not easy to achieve. So it's definitely like a step up from like nothing, right? So
yeah, for sure. So I think one part is just putting yourself out there, right? Then one is, I think the biggest lens is like this trust thing, right? Like, so how can I build trust? Like, it's very hard to build trust if I just go on Reddit, post about this, because Reddit is a very anonymous place. Like, what are they going to do? They're going to hate on me and like whatever. However, if I post on LinkedIn, for example, all of a sudden I have a persona. No, people know me. If I do this consistently, kind of get reminded of this, and you, over time, it's like easier to get comfortable with this. And the easiest thing for trust is I just go to people I already know, right? So like early customers are easiest to find where you know them, or in communities where people trust you because you're associated with the community, right? This is where like effective altruism is great because like I've been part of the effective altruism for a long time. That's like super hard to fake, right? Like I've been doing this giving what we can thing for like 10 years. It's like a very expensive thing to do just like for random growth reasons, right? Like probably I'm not doing this for like random growth reasons. And that allows to build trust easier. And the last thing is, of course, just social proof. Like if I can show other people using this and are happy with this and having tested this, that again like builds trust and that then allows to grow.
That was actually my next question. So for like the LinkedIn post, like the main motivation would be like the personal branding, trust, and just like getting people to know about Donethat. That would be the main motivation, or do you think you would still be doing just posting on LinkedIn if it was not for these reasons?
I think everybody posting on LinkedIn has some kind of agenda. Right? Like it is not a pleasant experience to like post on LinkedIn. Like it's like any other self promotion, right? Like but by now it's I enjoy it more. But
has it like ever backfired?
No, never. Okay. No, I don't think so. Like also like initially when I did posts, I was like obsessed with like what people like the thing, and by now I just post and like look back at it in a day or two or like whatever. It's become easier. And no, but like one thing is of course like that people get to know about this thing, but the much bigger reason is actually that people remember me, right? Like most people, not most, but like most people I'm connected to on LinkedIn will by now know I've done that, and maybe some were like, oh yeah, that's an interesting idea, and then just forget about it, right? And as with everything in sales and marketing, like you just have to like be top of mind, and LinkedIn posts allow you to be top of mind, so that when somebody starts a new job or is like less productive than they want to be, or maybe are discussing remote with their employer or like whatever, like some reason for them that now they would be an interesting customer for Donethat, and then I'm showing up in their feed, then like they can make the connection much easier. So yeah, just getting part of the mind share there is helpful.
Amazing. All right, let's get into Euzoia now. So I really like it. I think it's like one of the best things I've seen in a while. I know it's like a Notion. It's like a Notion database, or like basically, right, in a sense, right? I think the main thing I like is like everything is condensed into this one place. Otherwise, you need like 50 different YouTube videos, a bunch of articles and books. And you try to compress as much as you can. I think you and Cameron together into like this one thing. And the second thing that's like also very good is like I think the plan is to like constantly evolve it and like improve it, right? That's amazing. So now my question would be, so I was like looking at it the past few days, and I think one of the troubles that I had is like, and people as well, I think mentioned to you that it's a bit overwhelming, maybe like 50 principles. How do you think you can make it easier for people to take this action on these things, right? How can it be more automatic, especially with AI?
So, I mean, the idea with Euzoia, it evolved over a long time, and it started with me being like, I think myself struggling with behavior change a lot, right? Like we have all this content out there of like what it means to live a good life, and we all kind of know what to do, but then like we forget, we're busy, like life is hard, you start something, you stop with it again. That's one part. Then it's just like very overwhelming, the content often, right? And also it's hard to know who to trust. It's like all like just annoying. And then I think there's also wrong incentives on influencers, because as an influencer, where like we get a lot of this content from, they are under pressure to just always generate new content. So, and like interesting or like controversial content, right? Like, so I don't know, you get like Andrew Huberman like ranting for 3 hours that you should like take a walk in the morning to get sunlight, because like nobody said that before, right? Like, but the boring stuff of like you should just exercise 3 times a week. It's like everybody knows it. You can't really make content on this, right? Because it's boring or nothing new. And the idea with Euzoia was like, okay, like let's just make the boring content, And the way to then still make it work as an influencer so we don't run out of content is we just repeat it every year, right? So the whole idea is for 1 month talk about health, for another about mental health, for another about money, for another about like whatever, with the idea that you can like 80-20 trim down the best advice, like go to the gym 3 times a week. But then we don't run out of content because like we're just going to recycle it every year, right? So this is like one part of it. And then the other idea is because we recycle it every year and we do like 1 post a week, it's more of an inspiration, right? Like have a look at it. And I think we have to get better at the communication. Like the idea isn't you then do everything, but it's more like, here's a reminder of what you could do in this area of life. Yeah. If you don't have time now, don't worry. Yeah. We'll send you the post again in a year, right? Like it's more of a, you can almost think about it like for example, the Bible used to be, I think, some kind of self-help book back in the days, right? Because like there's like a lot of preaching around how you should live your life, values, like these stories were meant to inspire you to like reflect on your own life. Yeah. And again, like they just read the same thing every year, right? Yeah. Like Easter is always in March, and you learn about like fasting and like all that stuff, right? Like and having something that repeats and that is always the same, and you can be sure it gets updated, latest research, is something that I at least haven't seen before on this scope. Yeah. And something that I already see, like I take something from it every week. But yeah, the trick is to frame it in a way that it isn't overwhelming, and I think that we still have to work on. Yeah. And then the last thing we're doing right now is like we tried different things already. It's like the whole idea of startup, right? You try different things. We tried coaching initially. That didn't work at all because people just would book it and not show up. And then I was like, okay, what? Like because it was free. And then I was like, but I also don't want to charge people for this, like, and like then I did like fees if people don't show up, but like and it takes my time. I don't have a lot of time for this. Yeah. And we thought like maybe we can train coaches, but like, I had coaches a few times in my life. I felt like it's hard to make this work. There's so many coaches out there who all like struggle to make coaching work. I think there's an instinct in all of us. It's like we want to preach or we want to help others, but there's not an equal instinct in other people that they want to be preached at and like want to be helped. So it's hard to make this work. Then what we're trying right now is something that's been proven in like a lot of behavior change literature, and that is if you actually want to change, and you have a motivation to change, and you have basically good reasons, then we can help you with this by taking your money if you don't change. This is like, there's apps like BeMinder, of course, there's some others. The idea is pretty old, but it works. And our kind of spin on it is that we only donate this money to effective charities. So you kind of improve the world also a little bit while doing it.
One like random thought I had while I was thinking about that idea is like, wouldn't you want to like just not do the thing because you'll feel good because the money went to charity if you're like very EA or?
I mean, you can try. I think the two important things there: you shouldn't take the money out of your donation budget. Okay. So like if you pledge to donate 10% of your money, then the donation money that goes into this shouldn't come out of this 10% pot. And if you feel good about it, just make the money higher. Like at some point you won't feel good about it anymore, right? If you have to pay, if you have to donate 50 euros every time you don't go to the gym, at some point you'll want to go to the gym.
It will hurt.
It will hurt. Yeah.
I see. So with Euzoia, you're building it with Cameron. So how do you two like divide the work? How does it go?
I think it's going amazingly well, and it works very well because we.
Also, sorry. With Cameron, I didn't give any intro. Do you want to give like a small intro to who Cameron is?
Sure, yeah. So Cameron is somebody who, how to best introduce Cameron?
Mysterious.
Okay. So Cameron is somebody, he also was in the Founding to Give program. This is kind of how we're reconnected. But we actually were accountability buddies kind of 3 years ago or something, because we met in some random EA Connect thing during COVID for half a year. Yeah. And I think that was some of the most productive time in my life, probably. And we never met face to face. We were like only on Slack, accountability buddying. That was fun. And then he co-founded Hive and Animal Advocacy Africa. So he's very dedicated to like animal welfare causes. He's vegan. He lives in London, and he's just like a fun guy and very into like life optimization as well. This is why this is like, he like already subscribes to all the content out there, and is very much into like a lot of like online communities, like many discords, like just a good fit for kind of this kind of work. And the way we work together is that we both do what we like. And that means I write the articles. He doesn't like writing. He edits the podcast. I don't want to edit. He does most of the kind of community marketing work, and I do some of the other marketing work. And I do some of the admin of it all, because I do admin anyway for my other companies, so it doesn't change much that I kind of add this admin. And it's like a good split of work. And like we talked about this, we do like every month like a review, or like, okay, like how did it go? What could we do differently? And I was like, you're sure you don't want to write? Like, I'm not like, he's like, oh yeah, absolutely. It's like it's a good split of tasks. And then we do just like each other. I think that of course also helps.
Nice. And like going back to the overarching theme, like the effective altruism of it all. How did you get into it?
I read the practical ethics after high school.
So that was like the first entry point?
That was the first entry point. But back then, I'm not sure if like EA even existed formally.
What year was that?
I thought it doesn't matter. I'm 35 now, so that is about like what, 18 years ago or something. I don't know. You do the math.
18. God damn.
Anyway, so it's been a while. It's been a while that I read practical ethics, and then I didn't have much contact with any of these topics until I started making money. And making money sounds like big. It's like a PhD stipend. It's not a lot of money. And then I was like, okay, I want to donate some money now. And I was like, I had this constant guilt also of like, okay, like, should I now buy this like Starbucks coffee, or like that seems like not necessary for my happiness? Maybe I should just donate the money instead. Like, should I like questioning like so many purchasing decisions, like not like obsessively, but like it was like unnecessary and felt like a bit of a waste. But I was just missing a good framework. Like, should I buy like organic cheese or like regular cheese? Like, surely that has some kind of impact on like animal welfare, but like how much? Like, I just have no idea, right? Like these kind of questions. And then I was like, okay, like I want to donate money now, but like where, right? like Peter Singer seems to like Oxfam. Like, is that the best charity, or like how do I even compare these things? Like people talk about like overhead cost, but that seems like a silly metric, right? I was like very confused. And then I was just Googling it probably, and was lucky that at that time there was an EA meetup in Frankfurt, which must have been like one of the earlier ones. It used to be a rationalist meetup. And at the first meetup that I went to, everybody talked about Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality,
of course,
which is this book by Elisir Jodorowsky. And I still think it's funny that this is like his claim to fame and how he got famous. Anyway, so I read Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality. I enjoyed the book, and I was introduced to Effective Altruism. And I kind of feel like for many people, like it either makes sense or it doesn't, right? Like it's again, like with sales, right? It's hard to convince people of anything. And I think the same with EA. Like when people find it, either they're like, oh yeah, this totally makes sense. Like, where can I sign up? Or there's like some skepticism, and then you can try to convince people, but it's harder, let's just say, right? And for me, it was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. And then this giving pledge, I think the argument back then was, and I still totally buy these arguments, is, well, if you start early, you're never going to miss the money you otherwise would have had. It's like much easier to not, to stay on kind of your level of income than to have more and then have this like people are loss averse is basically what I'm trying to say, right? And it also kind of locks in your values, right? If you just already now start having this habit of like donating a little bit and helping make the world a tiny, tiny, tiny better place, then probably you're not going to lose that habit kind of all the way down the line.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I signed up to this and loved it ever since.
Cool. Yeah. And how has your thinking evolved over the years regarding it, or has it like remained mainly stable? Especially with maybe especially with given like moral ambition and like this whole movement, and then how do you, because at least what I understand is it tries to go as not as extreme as EA, because a lot of EAs feel very guilty of, you know, the Starbucks coffee is like, it's like a big deal. Yeah. And I think they're like, okay, chill out, like do these impactful things, but at the same time live your life. I don't know. So how do you kind of think about these things?
Yeah. So for me, I always liked every single person I met in the EA community. I think it's like a super fun group of people. Yeah. So I always like very much identified as EA, which probably like I shouldn't say, or like most people wouldn't. But also like with a big asterisk that I think the European version of EA is quite different from the SF version of EA. So like, I think the SF version is a lot more like AI safety,
basically.
Or it's only AI safety. And like we can get into AI safety as well. But my experience with EAs was mostly in the European community, mostly like in Frankfurt, in Berlin, in Amsterdam. And I just always thought they were like interesting, fun nerds. And as you know, I like my nerds. So that, I think that's one part. Then on the whole guilt part, for me, like this 10% pledge is just perfect. No, like you just say, okay, like this is where we draw the line, and done, right? And I feel like if you then try to optimize beyond that line that you draw for yourself, first of all, it becomes very unhealthy, and second, it's like makes it much harder to grow this movement, right? I feel like this 10% idea, it's grounded in religion, right? Like there are many religions who had this idea of the 10th. And it's something that is easy to imitate and to not easy. It's still 10% of your money. Yeah, but like it's imitatable. Whereas where other people go is it's getting much harder. And then of course, like it kind of depends around specific causes. I disagree with some things that the community did, obviously, right? But
which ones are you talking about specifically?
No, I mean, I think I should.
I shouldn't know.
Yeah,
it's okay.
No, I'm happy to talk about one, which I've
talked about. Don't say Sam Bankman-Fried.
No, Sam Bankman-Fried is boring. Okay. No, I think what I really disagree with is the decision of, for example, 80,000 hours to do a hard pivot into only AI safety, because they built a brand that is a brand of come to us and we help you find the most impactful thing you can do in your career. And I think that's a super valuable thing to do. This is something that brought many people into EA. That is something that offers a lot of value to the world, right? And then taking this brand and basically taking it hostage and saying, okay, like we still have this kind of shop front to the outside, but like behind the shop front, we just build a funnel and tell everybody to work on AI safety. And like our coaching calls are going to be AI safety focused. It's not like they lied about it. No, they have like lots of posts about it. They communicated about it. I think like most people in the community are aware of this. But I just feel like it's a waste of a super well-known, reputable brand. Like literally, there's an 80,000 hours book right there.
There are like 10 of them here.
There's 10 of these books here. It's it doesn't say on the book that they did this because the book was written before this, right? Like, I feel like it's like totally valid of everybody in the organization to say we think AI safety is the most important thing, so we will work on AI safety. But then don't use a brand that is not saying AI safety is the most important thing. Just start a new one, right? Like do the what's it called, forethought or something. Like
it's like diluting the brand, like the original
brand. I think it's massively diluting the brand. And of course, like other people in the community step up, and now CEA is trying to do this more, and like it's just like I feel like such a waste, like so much chaos created for nothing. That's probably my hot take on EA right now.
Not as bad as I expected. It's all good. Okay, cool. AI safety. Let's talk about AI safety. Actually, I was not planning on, but it would be fun. So, okay, give me like a quick intro. What do you think about it? Like, so there are different camps, right? So we can like branch down, I guess. So first, what are the timelines? Like, how close are we to AGI? Or like, if you even like are into, like, what's I don't know. Because if you believe it's like thousands of years ago, you wouldn't really care too much, maybe. About
no, so I wrote an article on the AI forum on this a few years ago. And I think in general, I still agree with most of what I said there. And the basic idea I put there is that there just doesn't exist exponentials, right? And I think most people agree on this. Like all growth in the world is always like S-curve, right? So the question is just like, when are we in the exponential part of the S-curve, and when are we in the kind of S-curve part of it again? Yeah. And I put like lots of arguments that I don't think we can stay in this current exponential curve for very long, because compute is limited, algorithmic process is probably going to be limited, like data is limited, we see that already. Now let's assume we can fix all of this, because like somehow the brain is being able to be very intelligent, and it doesn't need a lot of like compute, and it doesn't need a lot of data, and like somehow we can still do it. So maybe we make algorithmic progress and we get to continuous learning and we somehow solve this, right? Then still we have the fundamental problem that the world is not predictable, right? Like it is a somewhat chaotic system, right? Like even if we had this thing that would be a mastermind, I think intelligence just only gets you so far. And that's of course something difficult to bet on. And like with something that's as intelligent as a human, you can already get very far. And then of course you have the problem of robotics, right? Like even a human that can get very far can't really act in the real world. Robotics is going to make advances, but much slower than intelligence. In general, with everything, if you have continuous learning, if you're as smart as a human, if you try to do robotics, you have to kind of make experiments in the real world to learn. Right? Like you have to like do stuff and learn from it, and like that's how we acquire knowledge, right? Like science. And that just takes time. You can't kind of speed rush this as an exponential. You can have like robot farms where they can learn in parallel, all that stuff, but like still fundamentally it takes time, it takes compute, and takes all that stuff. So I just don't believe in this kind of explosion argument.
Okay, even if it's not explosion, like how long do you think? Like
I'm not gonna put any money on this. I think it's okay, but this is one.
So, I guess a more specific question is: do you think it's like a important problem in your lifetime? I guess.
Yes, it will. Yeah. So I think from when I wrote this to now, I really changed in thinking that okay, like, and what I already wrote back then is like, of course, human level intelligence in a computer is still very scary, and we should still do like lots of things about it to make sure it's going right? Even if it's not this explosion thing, it's like very dangerous, and has a lot of potential. I think then the next problem is like, I just find it very hard to know what to do about it, right? It's like, should you now invest in getting there faster because then you're first compared to some other country? Should you make it open source? Should you not? Should you like, alignment seems to be really hard. Alignment research didn't seem to get very far. The part of alignment research that got us very far, which is RLHF, somehow seems to also like have gotten the models to be much more powerful. Like, yes, probably you should do something on the governance level, but that can also backfire. Like if I would have to put money now in AI safety, like I wouldn't know where to put it, right? Like I just find it hard to know where to do it. That doesn't mean that it's not important to do something there, right? But I also feel like, at least by now, the topic is so big and so many people working on it, it doesn't really fit this like in the EA framework, this neglected one anymore. And still at the same time we have like billions of animals suffering, like many humans suffering. I think like for myself, this is not the topic where it makes for me most sense to work on. I'm very happy other people are working on it. Like for sure it's something we should think about. I think that's kind of where I land.
And so do you buy the arguments that there's like a existential risk, like in like 10 years or whatever? And you think, or do you think?
I think it could be. Like you can make the argument that like there's a 10% risk that we're all going to die from AI. I could see like different ways how this could happen, right? Like so, I think it's not a silly thing to say.
So is the reason for not working, is it because of neglectedness, or is it more, or like the lack of neglectedness, or is it more like it's not clear of like what exactly can be done, right? In your position?
Yeah, I think both combined.
Both combined.
Yeah, to me, I feel like it's not neglected anymore. There's a lot of smart people working on it, and I wouldn't know what to do about it. And I talked with like a few people about this.
Yeah.
Again and again, I did like some coaching calls. And it never was like really clear what would now make most sense for me to do.
Yeah.
And of course, I could like keep thinking about this every month and ruminate.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what, like for a year, let me do the startup thing. Let me think about this again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, and what do you think about pausing? Do you think there's any good argument?
Pausing?
Like pausing AI? Or
if you can get to international agreement to pause, that could make sense, yes. I don't think you can get to international agreement to pause.
Yeah.
But like I also think you should have a wealth tax and do redistribution of wealth.
Yeah.
If you can get to international agreement on it.
Yeah.
I just don't think you can get to international agreement.
Yeah.
Like, and again, like I'm happy some people are trying. It's like, maybe this makes sense. I'm just like very, 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 very skeptical that you can get it done.
Yeah.
Especially in this current political climate. I think it's also really hard to say from the outside in. I mean, you can point to some things like, I think Anthropic, for example, trying to somehow find a balance of what these models are and aren't allowed to do.
Yeah.
For like giving the models a constitution. Yeah. Like, is it really going to change things? Like, I don't know. There's like a bunch of evals. I find this whole field like so hard to predict and to evaluate. And I'm also not in the middle of it. And I am building an AI startup, right? So you should think like I know a little bit about it. I did a PhD in the field. You should think I know a little bit about it.
Yeah.
But I find it so hard to really wrap my head around it.
Okay. Let's just move on. I guess we just forget about AI safety. I think that's like a lot of these conversations with AI safety is like, you do this, X, Y, Z, and then you're like, okay, I don't know what to do anymore. But yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm also in that state where I'm like, okay, how can I best figure out like what I can do best in the field?
Yeah.
And I think I still have to figure that out. So if I have an answer, then I will let you know.
Okay, great.
Okay, cool. Regarding like I have like one more side question maybe. On LinkedIn, like Rutger Bregman had this new post on like, I think boycott OpenAI.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I have so I didn't follow this whole debate really.
Yeah, me too, but I have like the general overview, at least what I understand is like, his argument is mainly that it's funding authoritarianism, Trump. For me, that's what I got from the post.
I think in general, I'm very, 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 very skeptical on any kind of consumer action.
Yeah.
It gives you a lot of feeling of power, but then like this is like murky territory, no? But like how much does it now help to advocate for people going vegan versus to just try to work with industry on better welfare practices? I think time has shown that the second seems to work better.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that people shouldn't go vegan, right? Like obviously that has a big impact. But the great thing with vegan thing is you can actually show that now like less chickens are being produced, right? Mm-hmm. Like will like 2 million people stop using OpenAI right now really lead to like them having like thousands of people also quit Facebook and then they got Instagram, right? And then they like, I think protesting I'm more of a fan of because I like anything that can lead to policy change. Maybe this quitting OpenAI leads to also change in political view of things that could then lead to policy change.
Yeah.
I wouldn't imagine that Sam Altman is like lying in bed now and thinking like OpenAI is going to fail because a few people are quitting his platform. Like, but again, like I might be wrong. Right? Like I'm guessing that the money he got from the Pentagon contracts is going to be higher than the free users who use OpenAI right now. Right? Like, but it's really hard to say. I guess of course it's good to do this, right? Everybody's doing this. I think the failure mode is to then think of, okay, I've done my part. Right?
That should be just one of the key small steps.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a small thing, right? And maybe doing this can lead to people feeling more responsible and then take more actions. But these are just like some very ad hoc thoughts. Maybe I didn't delete my OpenAI thing yet.
Yeah.
I think OpenAI works better for image generation than Google. No. It's a very controversial thing. I mostly use Google. Should I use Google? I'm not sure.
No, I think it's enough for safety for today. Let's go more like easy topics. We're in a beautiful city. Well, the weather is kind of shit right now, but in general, do you like living in Amsterdam? What do you love? What do you hate about living here?
I love Amsterdam. Yeah.
Do you see yourself like for the foreseeable future? Are you thinking, or do you want to experiment more, like the countryside?
No, I think I'm done experimenting. I did enough moving around. At least for now, I'm like very happy in Amsterdam. I think if you want to live in Europe, Amsterdam is like one of the best cities. Period. Is like
the German city. Yes, I love.
Yeah, no, I mean, I used to live in Berlin. I used to love Berlin. I don't want to live in Berlin anymore.
Why?
It's just dirty.
It's not great.
It's dirty. It takes forever to get from A to B. I'm kind of done partying. I'll still party sometimes, but like it doesn't have the same lure as it used to. And it's just really like I used to romanticize the roughness of it.
Yeah.
But it's also just rough. And Amsterdam is just nice and pretty, and there are no problems here.
Yeah.
And of course,
this is a little bit of a rent issue, but overall, I think all good.
There is a bit of a rent issue, yes, of course. But like, I think I would hope that like eventually in like 50 years, Berlin will look like Amsterdam. No, like nobody wants an ugly city, I think, right? Like we all strive for like for growth and beauty and good things. It does feel, or it can feel like a bit too much in Amsterdam. But I like the city, and like I mean this is all like joking, right? But like at the end of the day, I lived here for the last 7 years. Like most of my friends are here. I have a community here. If I would now move to another city, like it would all be fun, but like I'd have to build a community from scratch. So I'm very happy here. Yeah.
Nice. And you talked about like this intentional like community thing. Is that something like this EA or like the Euzoia you're building, or is it like a specific in-person thing you want to build, or?
No, when I say community, I just mean like the people I know here. Right? Like my partner and I, we try to host like events now like once a month on a Sunday, and just like invite like random people and like we'll do stuff. Or just lots of friends I know here in the city to do things with and be invited to, and like just a well-working social life. I think this dream of setting up a community, I might still do it one day. I feel like it's like on my list of life priorities, just not the highest, let's say. But maybe at some point again. And there's a few examples of that in Amsterdam. Amsterdam as a city is more and more open to it. They used to be very anti, like this, due to like student housing and some laws that try to make sure students don't live like in like tiny beds next to each other like sardines. But that's also led to communities being much harder to set up. Again, I think it's just not a priority for me right now.
Yeah, no, it's very fair. Do you have any dating advice for people who are going to move to Amsterdam?
Dating advice for Amsterdam? What are some hot dating takes I can give?
Okay, we can do like the general things, like so dating apps or no, just in-person events, or do you have?
I mean, I've never been really successful on dating apps. I think dating apps are. I mean, it's really a numbers game at the end of the day, right? And it's really a superficial numbers game, right? So if you want to play that game, it can be fun, right? I always felt that the people I vibe most with or click most with, I always met in person. And like less by like going to meetups or something. I've been at like 10 meetups, I think, in the last 2 months because I wanted to reconnect with the entrepreneur community here in Amsterdam. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yesterday I was at this thing, like people were smelly, like really, like it was.
They're working on their startup, man.
Yeah, they don't have time to shower.
They do not have.
Yeah, so I think dating advice: don't go to meetups.
But where else do you go for in-person events or meeting in person?
Yeah, I don't know. I think like for me it was like follow my interests, right? So like some of my interests were at the time like Lindy Hop dancing. Like it's a very nerdy niche thing.
Yeah.
But like because I'm a nerdy guy, and that's a nerdy thing to do. It turns out there's like nerdy girls there who like, and we would vibe, right? Like I was part of the Burning Man community in Amsterdam for a while, or like still am, and that's like less nerdy, more party people, right? Like part of my is this party hippie, so I would go to these party hippie events and meet other party hippies, and like turns out like our interests overlap and we connect, right? Like I think it's boring advice, no? But like do the things you enjoy the most, and you'll find people there who you fit with and click with. Yeah. That's like one part of it, but I think then the other part of it is also, I think we all have this like endless list of like things we want to check off for people we want to date. Mm-hmm. And my challenge is always like do the math. No, like if you want to find
the 33% thing, or
somebody in Amsterdam who is single, who maybe is in effective altruism, who is prettier than average, who is fit, who is funny, who is financially successful, who is your age, who like it's just like probabilities multiplied with each other and you end up at zero most of the time, right? Like so it's boring advice, everybody gives the advice. But give up on trying to find the perfect person and just have some fun. Okay.
Oh, I love that very much. Okay. A very side question, we can keep it out if you want. So you mentioned polyamory as well, I think. Does that fit with like family planning in the future, or you're like no kids and just focus on?
No, I think like polyamory is. Let me think about it. So I think polyamory is like a way of.
I'm gonna zoom this when you're thinking about this. The camera will slowly zoom.
No, so I think how I like to frame polyamory is, well, it's a way where you love more than one person, right? Nobody questions this when you love more than one child. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like people have 2 or 3 or 4 children.
I have so many drunk jokes right now. Sorry, go on.
It's like clearly you can, if you have 3 children, you can love all 3 of them.
I would say go for a different example when you're talking. Go on.
But when you have friends, you clearly also can make time for like more than 3 friends or 1 friend, right? Like so, why should it be different when it comes to people you love? Mm-hmm. So that's the idealist hippie side of me. That's like clearly there's like no good reason. And then the practical part of me is like, but time, right? Like, so you surely in an ideal world where we wouldn't have AI exploding right now, and where you wouldn't have to work, and where you wouldn't have to, like, you can totally be polyamorous and totally have like form like deep relationships with like 4 different people. Like it's possible, but it's a trade-off like everything else. Right? Like if you want to be polyamorous, you like frame it as a hobby, right? Like you don't have time for seeing your friends as much then, or you don't have time for learning a musical instrument, or like the time has to come from somewhere, right?
So have you like pivoted now?
And maybe just to finish, like when you then want to have children, like that's a massive time investment, right? Like already you won't have any friends or hobbies when you have children. So like how to combine this with polyamory? And the people I've seen who have successfully done it it kind of goes in phases, right? So obviously like the first 2 years of having a child are just like super intense and you don't sleep. And the last thing you want to think of is like well, it's like maybe too strong, but like you just don't have time, right? But then as your kids get older, like some people start seeing their friends again, and some people start picking up hobbies again, and of course it's like also possible to like expand your relationships again. That doesn't mean that like you don't have like zero relationship while you have a child, but like you could build that up again, and also like your other partners could support you while you have a child, right? Like they love you, like they want to help and see how they can help, and there is I think I have to think of the podcast now. So there's this EA Substacker, Aussie something. I think her Substack is called Things of Things or something. They wrote a podcast on like being polyamorous with a 3-year-old child. Because they wanted to specifically say is like, hey, it is possible, and here's an example. But yeah, it costs time, right? Like that. Like at the end of the day, it's all about trade-offs, and that's one you can make. And yeah, I think that.
Final question. Yes. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. So, what are your favorite books, or like the books that had the biggest impact in your life?
So I mean, Practical Ethics for sure had like a lot of impact on me. I recently read Strangers Drowning.
Strangers Drowning?
Yeah, which I thought was a great book. Basically, it's like...
Is it Peter Singer?
No, I forgot.
But there was like an essay or something, right? Or like a example, I think.
There's the kid drowning in the pond, of course. And it's a bit like, it's a play on that. And Strangers Drowning just looks at, I think, 10 or so people's life stories. And these are all people who went way beyond. It's like not donating 10% of their income, but like 90%. Or like not like do a cushy nice NGO job and like do some project management from Amsterdam, but like live in the field, do nothing else, and like get sick while doing it, and like really, really driven people. And the book kind of looks at, okay, like how does that make us feel, right? Like if we know that's possible, like what does it say about us? Like where is a healthy limit? Like what is, like of course you can just put them on the pedestal and say like these are saints, and clearly I can't be a saint, so I can't do this. But like realistically we could do this. No, like we could go out there and live like this. And the book doesn't really have an answer, but it opens this question of like what's enough, and like what is impact and what is healthy, and like at the end of the day it's a decision that everybody has to take for themselves, of course. But I thought it was a really, really interesting book. And then recently I read...
I have one question. So how do you relate that to your own life? Like, so is there a line like the 10%, the giving pledge? Is that the line then? Or?
Yeah, for me that's the line.
Right?
It's like, and maybe I'll reconsider that at some point. But I like that because it's a line that I think a lot of people can draw. And it asks a bit, but not too much, I think. And it's like, if we would all be there, like let's then think about like where else can we go, but like let's first try to kind of move collectively there before trying like massive other things. And then of course like that's the money and career part, right? I think there is also like a minimal amount of like political activism that probably all people should do, because we just live in a democracy, right? And there's a minimal amount of like consumption choices, like living vegan, for example. I'm not vegan. I wish I was. I tried a few times. But it's sort of like, again, like seeing like how hard are things, and like what's again the trade-off.
So these would be like the two recent main ones then, right?
I read a very unrelated one called Lessons in Chemistry. Which is just a very fun novel. I feel like about like...
It's a novel, okay.
Yeah, I think people don't read enough novels. Fiction is a great way to like dive into lives and like build empathy and like work this muscle. So I tried to read more novels, and that was...
What's your favorite novel?
I wish I had a good answer, but a recent one was this Lessons in Chemistry, and that I definitely like.
Have you read The Martian?
No, I think I watched there was also a movie on this, no?
There's a second movie coming out, like not The Martian 2 or anything, but like another. He has a separate book called Project Hail Mary, So is it like
I think I read that one, the Hail Mary one.
Such a good audiobook. I love that. So there's a new movie coming out very soon.
Cool.
It's turned into a movie trailer, a movie advertisement at the end. Okay, I think this is a great note to end. Thank you very much for the conversation.
Thanks.